I have reached a big milestone with this episode. No, not episode 100. Around here we only count anniversaries when the binary digits flip over. No, Red Alert is the final game of 1989. There were 75 releases for the PC Engine in 1989, and if you're counting episodes, don't overlook how I merged a few together. And the PC Engine is still building momentum. 1989 was the year that everyone else got on board with the PC Engine, for better and for worse. We saw great games and ports from established companies, and a lot of stuff from companies new to the PC Engine, who were trying out a different audience since they could no longer sell their garbage to the Famicom crowd. 1989 was a year of heaven and hell on the PC Engine, and we're ending it with Red Alert. Nippon Telenet has been really leaning into the CD-ROM, particularly for animated and voice-acted cutscenes, and Red Alert has plenty of that. The plot it's in service to is really generic. There's a soldier whose platoon is wiped out by an evil organization, and then the CIA wants to recruit him to take them down. The influences on the story are really obvious. I mean, really obvious. It's basically half of the American action movies of the 1980s jammed into one video game. Of course, Nippon Telenet stacked the voice cast. Our hero soldier is played by Akira Kamiya, who voiced Kenshiro in Fist of the North Star. Okay, the rest of the cast isn't as prominent, but it consisted of people who had voice acted in dozens of minor roles for decades. And of course, for the US version, titled Last Alert, you had...
I thought I'd find you here.
I thought we'd always do things together, even when we die.
Oh boy. Yeah, if you've ever heard of Last Alert at all, it's almost definitely because the voice acting is infamous. The kind of thing that would show up in compilation videos of the worst game acting of all time. The English voice cast is credited as David, Alan, Dan, Mark. No last names.
He's entrusted me with the task.
So you'll ask him then?
The only person who could possibly fight the Force Project is this man. Guy Kazama is the only one.
I strongly suspect that the voice cast was made up of people who are already employees of NEC's American branch. I couldn't positively identify anyone, though. Now, as funny as it would be for you to listen to this through the whole episode...
Colonel Kadar of the Republic of Libid, Mr. Lee of the Hong Kong Mafia, Chairman Steve of the Dual Foundation, Dr. Garcia, a brilliant physicist.
I am the one who has to play it, so I stuck to the Japanese version. As for the actual gameplay portion of Red Alert, it's a top-down military shooter, something that was weirdly common at that point. I suspect it's a result of people drawing inspiration from Capcom's Commando. You can freely roam around the stages, though for most of them there's one single obvious path, and you can have a few different goals, either reach the end of the area, or go to a set of locations on the stage, where you might rescue hostages or plant bombs. Button 2 fires your primary weapon, while Button 1 fires any secondary weapons that you've collected. Initially your primary gun is a pistol, but as you level up you'll acquire additional weapons, like an Uzi that can auto-fire without you using the auto-fire switch on your controller, or an assault rifle that acts as a shotgun. Enemy soldiers spawn in continuously, just rushing at you until you put them down. However, there's also enemies that are in fixed positions, and these soldiers may drop something when you shoot them. They could drop a health kit that will restore part of your life bar, or one use of a sub-weapon. The sub-weapons can be handy, but they're not really required. Grenades might wind up being the single best one, since they're the most common, and can travel over obstacles that would block your bullets. On the other hand, the missiles have the same property, fire 4 simultaneously, and home in on enemies. The shuriken also launch 4, and these bounce around the screen, which means that usually they'll just go right off the edge of the screen, not doing a whole lot. The orb adds 2 balls that float around you and take additional shots, and they'll sometimes block incoming bullets. They're not bad, but they are unreliable. They don't shoot every time. And then there's the flamethrower. Activate it and you'll start spitting out a continuous stream of fire for about 15 seconds. And wow, that looks great and effective, doesn't it? Except half the time enemies just walk through it. It winds up being the least effective sub-weapon. Just don't use it at all. You select which weapons you're using by pressing run, and then hit left and right to select the main weapon, while up and down cycle through the sub-weapons. There's no reason to use one of the weaker main weapons after you get something better, so that's something you set and forget. Every time you kill an enemy, you earn some experience, and when you level up, your life bar extends 1 unit. By the time you reach the end of the game, your health bar will extend across the entire screen, so you can take plenty of shots. If your health does run out, or the timer runs out, then it's game over. But the game saves your progress automatically to the internal memory, and you're able to continue as many times as you like. Probably the best thing in Red Alert is that there is some creativity in the stage design. Like this boss who's using a human shield and you have to pick your shots. After you defeat him, you have to escape, and you do that by running to catch up with a plane, while jeeps and motorcycles continuously appear to chase you down. A later stage has you infiltrating this prison, and the level starts out with you in a pile of dead bodies. There are also sneaking missions, which is the only time after you power up where you'll want to switch back to the pistol. Using any other weapon will cause enemies to appear. Japanese players mainly remember Red Alert for its absolutely absurd storyline. They find it to be as absurdly over the top as we do, though they got to enjoy the voice acting while Americans had to put up with it. I find Red Alert to be a perfectly reasonable action game. It's not good enough for me to say, yeah, you're really missing out if you don't play this one, but it's pretty far from a stinker. It's competently made, has a few good ideas that maybe aren't as integrated as nicely into the gameplay as they could be, and definitely doesn't look hideous. On the other hand, the gameplay is kind of slow. There's a lot of points where damage becomes unavoidable, which isn't a surprise given how much they make that life bar grow. And the sub-weapons are really dull. The good and bad points in Red Alert wind up balancing each other kind of well. It's easy to understand why it's not considered an all-time classic, but there's enough going on that it's kind of compelling. And it will live on forever with its voice acting.